And just a reminder, first thing through, get a grip on all the images. You want a full ID, the function, what it's famous for in red, something about the form in blue, and a connection. All right, we're going to go to the modern after about 1850s. Got still life in studio. I'm going to go through this one quickly. This is all on the PowerPoint if you want to go back and get these for your IDs. But this is basically famous because it's an early photo. The early photos looked like art, looked like fine art. There's the painting, there's the photo. That's going to really change art here because now you have a machine that can do this. All right, Horse in Motion. It's famous. It's the first movement in art. And then Nadar in photography. This is famous for its ridiculing, satiring art. It shows the conflict between photography and art. All right, now huge revolutions in art. The Greeks, the Renaissance, and Manet. This one right here, 3 giant revolutions in art. Olympia's Manet. This one, full identification. Then for function with modern art, we start to get into the purpose of the art. They're all going to be private galleries, so the function is private and to make money, but we need to know what the intention of the artist. He's exploring what is art, what is beauty. It's famous because it's a scandal. It's the first modern art. He's going to challenge all the traditions of the Renaissance. All the stuff we've learned, he will challenge. It's going to be modern art, which is not so, it's going to be about ideas, about philosophy. This one here, what is art? What is beauty? Form, not beautiful, not modeled, flat, cut out. She looked like a cadaver. Connection, Grand Odalisque. This is the tradition of the female nude. Salon versus the rebels. And there's Titian. Okay, and the modern is the new. And new art is philosophical. It asks questions. It's also visible. You can see the paintbrush, and it uses abstraction. But it's part of the great tradition of Western art. Okay, it gets rejected from the salon. All right, after this, we're going to get to the avant-garde. Things are going to change a lot quickly. Impressionism, Monet. Okay, Impressionists are about middle-class, bourgeois Paris, out in the Paris, middle-class people with leisure time enjoying Paris. It's not Jesus, it's not Moses, it's the middle class. Lazare train station, into light, atmosphere, private dealers. These are landscape paintings. They made a lot of money. He was into atmosphere, time of day, and choppy brushstroke, and the effects of light and atmosphere. Visual truth, what do you really see with your eye? And the Impressionists are, by definition, a group of artists in the 1870s, 1880s in Paris, different artists that were a new type of artist. It was the new. Okay, so function, landscapes, exploring what we see, famous because it's new, popular, outdoor art, middle class, Paris art, form, choppy brush, maybe similar to Slave Ship. The Coiffeur by Mary Cassatt, you want to know this one really well. This is famous because it uses Japanese woodblock style, flat, an intimate private moment, a woman's point of view. She hung out with the Impressionists. The form is flat and cropped, cut off, intimate, similar to a flat Japanese woodblock. All right, post-Impressionists, Cezanne and Van Gogh, more change. Cezanne is into multiple points of view. He's into perception, how we actually see a mountain. He uses warm and cool colors for depth. He will paint the same mountain over and over and over again. So function, he's private gallery, but he's exploring perception of the way we see things. Famous innovation, multiple points of view. Architecture of color, how we actually perceive things. The form, it's flat. See these planes of color, and he uses color for depth. Very different than naturalism. And then Van Gogh is going to be a color guy, expressive color. He'll paint the feel of a place, the feel of a room, not naturalism, but the inner vision of the artist. Thick impasto paint. Starry Night, function, he's exploring how you can express the feeling of a place. It's famous because it expresses feeling beyond naturalism, inner vision of the artist. His form is impasto, thick paint. Gauguin, also a color guy. He's famous for celebrating the exotic, in this case Tahiti and the non-Western, expressive color, arbitrary color, abstracted form. Munch, the Scream, he's famous for really capturing feeling of modern life. We all feel this way, very expressive. His form is expressive color, stylized. Skip, we'll do that one later. Okay. 20th century, let's see, the modern world, new ideas. 20th century, we have color people, we have line people. The Kiss, this is this is really a new kind of icon, a new art. It's abstracted. It's famous because it's a modern icon. The Kiss, new style, new icon. The form, it's abstracted. It's not naturalistic. Also, the gold is Byzantine, almost like an icon. Matisse, arbitrary color. You express, not naturalism. You use color to express. Goldfish. You want to love Morocco. All right, what's he doing? He's exploring new forms, new types of beauty. Matisse is famous for color, for beauty, and in this case, he captures the beauty of tranquility. The form, arbitrary color, simplified form, flat, modern art, Matisse. Picasso, I paint forms as I think them, side by side. You can see the difference between the two. And Picasso takes the female form, makes it jagged, broken, completely new type of form. So what's he doing here? Picasso is exploring new types of form, new point of view, almost a psychological reality. Form as thought. It's the inner vision of the artist, not naturalism. His form is abstracted, not total abstraction, but a broken reality put together in a new, flat, jagged way with some depth as well. Very different from the other female figures we saw. This leads to Cubism. Braque is his partner. This is the Portuguese. This is analytical Cubism, same thing as Ladies of Avignon. Inner vision of the artist, a new point of view, a psychological reality. The inner vision of the artist. It's abstracted, put together. That's actually supposed to be a Portuguese guy put together in a Cubist way. All right, the steerage, we'll come back to that one later. German Expressionism, ugly and pretty, De Broek and De Blue Rider. Kandinsky, soul's a piano, color hits the key, plays the music of the soul. Blue Rider, just before World War I, Improv 28, and he was part of the Blue Rider movement. Some of his stuff was recognizable in improv or total abstraction. This is an improv, so you can recognize the hill and the church and things like that. What's he doing? His function, he's exploring the use of color. Art almost like music. He's famous for his use of color. He's the first person to use total abstraction. Color expresses, you can feel color like you can feel sound and music. His form is abstracted and colorful, power of color. Very important artist. You want to know him well. De Broek is a bridge to the new, so their art is very philosophical, and they love Nietzsche. They want a new beginning. They're nihilists. They reject the past. So this art here, the function is really to bring new ideas of a new society, thus the bridge, the brook to the new. So they're famous for having very disturbing art. It's expressive and disturbing. The form is called like jarring color, dissonant, uncomfortable, because that's what the work is meant to do, is push to something new. Fountain, we did a lot on this. There's the broken arm, Dada, Fountain. World War I is ridiculous. Everybody dies for no reason. So what's going on here? There's actually a very important work. This is exploring what is art. Is art an object, something you make, or is it an idea? Why is this famous? It's the first conceptual art. It's about the idea, not the form. Remember the shovel. He's a trendsetter, hugely influential. All conceptual art will follow this. Toilet. He's meant to make you think of something in a new way. The form here is a ready-made. It's already made. It's a toilet. He's repurposed it in another way. Connect with heroic sculpture, Doryforos. Okay, Russia is a mess, has all kinds of problems. Memorial sheet for Karl. This woman was famous for very sad woodcuts. The form is woodcut. Let's come back to this one. Russia, everything is going to change. They're going to create a whole new society. You have this propaganda poster here. The function is communist propaganda to say how great the 5-year plan was. It's pure propaganda. The form is photo montage. Okay, Burghers of Calais, very important work here by Rodin. This one you want to know really well. The function, it's a public war memorial. It's famous because it's innovative. It's a very different kind of war memorial. It is not heroic. Also, the form, it's stylized, not naturalistic. Their bodies express their sadness. Very important work. Connect it to any historical work like Alexander Mosaic or Diego Rivera. Really important work. All right, The Kiss by Brancusi. There's Brancusi. Brancusi. There's his baby. There's his bird. Brancusi. Okay, what is Brancusi doing? All right, the function, it's a new form. He tries to get the essence of the idea, in this case, a kiss, simplicity. Famous, minimal, simple, primal, powerful. Form, simplified, a few lines. All right, composition red, blue. Okay, after World War I, the disaster, there are some utopians that want to create a perfect world. Comp in red, blue, and yellow by Mondrian. All right, what's going on here with Mondrian? He'll be very influential for architecture and other things. All right, he is saying that basically he's exploring what he called ideal universal forms, perfection, abstract perfection that he will put into a work of art. So it's famous for perfect form, primary colors, total abstraction. The form, total abstraction, primary colors. Similar to Kandinsky. We'll do this one later. Okay, surrealism is chaos between the wars. It's about the irrational and the crazy and the subconscious, odd juxtapositions, surrealism. In this case here, object, odd juxtaposition, fur and cup, Oppenheimer, surrealism. What are they doing here? Exploring new art, famous for its odd juxtaposition. Two Fridas, know this one very, very well. She's a surrealist, didn't like it, but she was. What's she doing? She's exploring beauty, beauty of suffering, beauty of being authentic. What's she famous for? Self-portraits, suffering with her bad husband, honesty of her identity in her biography. She was Mexican and German. You can see the two identities here in the conflict. The form is surreal or dreamy. She didn't like it, but she was a surrealist. There she is. Okay, dream of a Sunday afternoon in Alameda Park by Diego Rivera. Very important work. That's Frida's husband. You want to know this really, really well. And the function, it's a public mural on the wall so people would see it on the street, and it's about the history of Mexico and the history of the forgotten people. He was a socialist, and he was very much for the common man. It's very famous for doing his murals. And so what's it famous for? His murals, socialism, working people, history, but of those that have been ignored. The form is surreal or stylized. It's a historical work. All right, and then this is the one I've never seen before, or even forgot the name, but look that one up. It's also surrealist. Okay. Migration of the Negro. The very important work here. This tells the story of the Great Migration from the south to the north, Jacob Lawrence. It's famous for a very modern, minimal style, simplified form, but great power. Tells a story with powerful images. The form is simplified, modern, minimal. That'll take us to World War II. Let's stop there.